This is section 1.4 on angles. An angle is just two rays with a common endpoint. So if you look at this, we have ray AC and we have ray AB. That makes an angle. So the sides of the angle would be ray AC and ray AB. The vertex of the angle would be the common endpoint of the two rays. So if you look at your two rays, what's the common endpoint? It's point A. So your vertex is, again, just a point. That's why we're using one letter. Okay, sides of the angle we already talked about. Those are the two rays that make the angle. Here's how you would name an angle, and we're going to do it three different ways. First way, you're going to use the vertex, and it has to be the middle letter, and a point from each side. So we're going to do this probably 90% of the time. We're going to use three letters to name an angle. So if you were to name this angle using three letters, again, just follow that rule. Make sure the vertex is the middle letter. You can call this angle Y, X, Z. And if you trace it with your finger or your pencil, it's usually a little bit easier to follow. You could also call this angle Z, X, Y. Now, it's really important at this point that you put a little angle mark in front of your three letters, because if you don't, remember, three letters refers to a plane. You need that angle mark there so you know it's an angle. We're talking about an angle now, not a plane. Okay, so that's the first way we're going to name an angle. The second way would be if you just use the vertex only. So you could call this angle X if you wanted to. That's acceptable because there's only one angle in the diagram. It's not always going to be this simple. So this does not happen very often. Also, you could use a number to name the angle. So there might be a number that appears in between the two rays by the vertex of the angle. For example, this could be angle 1. So angle 1 refers to, again, this angle right here. That's not always going to happen. You're not always going to have a number in there. Okay, so this is an example of an angle. We know its vertex. We know its rays or sides that make it, and we know how to name it. Three different ways to name it. Let's name the angle four different ways, then identify the vertex and the sides. So you're going to see this on an assignment. Let's name this angle. Trace it with your finger or your pencil. We'll call it angle J, H, I. That's a comma. You could also reverse the letters and call it angle IHJ. Comma. Use the two different ways, the ways that don't happen very often. You could name it by just its vertex because there's only one angle there. Call it angle H, comma. You could also call it angle 2. Those are your four names. Now it also says to identify the vertex and its sides. So we'll do that. I'll change my color. Remember, the vertex is a point. which point is the common point of the two rays? Point H. What about the sides? Remember, your sides are rays, so make sure you name them as rays. Ray HJ. And ray HI. You know you're on the right track if your rays start with the same letter that just happens to be the same as your vertex. Okay, pause this video, do numbers 2 and 3 on your own. Here are some more complicated examples where you don't just have one angle in the diagram. It's hard to really figure this out the first time through, but there's 3 angles here. Here's a blue one. Here's a red one. Those are your 2 little angles. And then together, if you would put those 2 little angles together, you would get this big angle. Okay, so there are 3 angles there. So name all angles having W as the vertex. You need 3 answers. Okay, well, I'm already on the green, so I'm going to name that angle. That's the big angle. Name it any way you want. Again, notice how we're kind of forced to use 3 letters here. We can't call this angle W because all 3 angles have W as a vertex. So that's why you don't use the vertex as a name very often. How about the red angle? Trace it with your finger or your pencil. Call it angle TWC. Not a very good W there. Blue angle, use your finger or your pencil. It's up to you which way you name it as long as the vertex is in the middle. I'm going to call this one angle TWG. Okay, so quick review there. There's 3 angles, so you have to give a name to each one. Each one has W as a vertex, so W is in the middle on each one. That's the same reason why you can't use just angle W as a name. Make sure you put the angle mark here. If you don't put that angle symbol, then you're referring to something else. Pause this video, try number 5 on your own.